All right, if you're an IT pro and you're rolling out Microsoft Copilot, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break down the framework you absolutely need to build AI agents that aren't just powerful, but are also secure and reliable. Let's dive in.
So here's what we're covering. First, we'll hit the big one, the AI security dilemma that, let's be honest, everyone's thinking about. Then we're going to walk through 3 core pillars for building an agent you can actually trust, grounding it in your company's data, verifying that data is clean, and then setting up the rules of the road with governance. Okay, so let's frame the big challenge here. The promise of Copilot is huge, right? Massive productivity gains. But that promise comes with a pretty serious peril. It really forces us to take a good hard look at our own data security. And this right here is the fundamental question. Think about it. Copilot can reason over everything a user has access to. Every single SharePoint file, every Teams chat, every email. That's a level of data access we've never seen before, and it absolutely demands a rock-solid strategy. This quote just nails the issue perfectly. Copilot doesn't go out and create new security problems. Nope. What it does is act like a super fast scanner for the security flaws you already have. If your permissions are a mess, Copilot will find and surface data that people were never supposed to see in the first place. So here's the most important thing to get about the semantic index. Copilot does not have some kind of master key to all your data. It simply inherits the user's exact permissions. If your user can see a file, Copilot can. If they can't, Copilot can't. And what that means for you is that your existing access controls just became the most critical part of your entire AI strategy. And that leads us perfectly to our first pillar, grounding. See, to build an agent you can rely on, you have to control what it knows. You've got to chain it to your company's version of the truth. Grounding is your #1 defense against the AI hallucinating, just making stuff up. It means you're not letting the AI just wander around the open internet. Instead, you're handing it a very specific, curated library of your own data, your own documents, to make sure its answers are based on your reality. And this is a really critical decision point. You've got work mode and web mode. And work mode, everything is grounded in your company's data, safe and sound inside your Microsoft 365 security bubble. That data is never, ever used to train public models. Web mode, on the other hand, uses the public internet. This isn't just a simple toggle. It's one of the first big security decisions you're going to make. Now, the good news here is that Copilot Studio makes this whole process really straightforward. You can literally just point your AI agent to a specific SharePoint site that has your HR policies, or you can upload the latest FAQ document for a new product. This gives you almost surgical control over what the agent knows, and just as importantly, what it doesn't know. Okay, so an agent is only as good as the data you feed it. We all know that. And that brings us to our second, and honestly, probably the most critical pillar, verifying your data. We're talking about data hygiene. You know the old saying, garbage in, garbage out, right? Well, with AI, it's more like garbage in, gospel out. If you ground your agent in a SharePoint site with messy permissions, that agent will faithfully and very efficiently serve up sensitive information to anyone who asks. Your underlying data security is the absolute foundation of a trustworthy AI. So where do you start? Well, this checklist pretty much covers the essentials. You have to be auditing permissions, mapping out where your sensitive data actually lives, and using tools like sensitivity labels and data loss prevention policies. Look, these have always been security best practices, but with AI in the picture, they go from best practice to absolutely non-negotiable. All right, finally, let's talk about the heavy-duty tools that help you enforce these rules automatically. This brings us to our third pillar, governance. This is all about setting up automated guardrails. Instead of just reacting to a data leak after it's already happened, prompt governance uses tools like Microsoft Purview to manage what's going on and stop data loss before a prompt even gets processed. It's about being proactive. And this diagram, it's a perfect example of how this works. A user tries to paste a credit card number into a prompt. But before that request even thinks about leaving the user's machine, the Purview DLP policy spots it, blocks it, and tells the user why. The potential data leak is just stopped cold before it could even start. And Microsoft Purview is basically your command center for all of this. You can get that high-level bird's-eye view of your AI risk, create super specific DLP policies, spot risky user behavior, and even detect when someone's trying to jailbreak the AI to get around your rules. So let's put this all together now. These 3 pillars, they're not separate ideas. They form one complete reliability framework for building AI agents that you can actually deploy with confidence. Honestly, the best way to think about this is like a three-legged stool. Grounding is the first leg. It controls what the AI knows. Data hygiene is the second leg. It makes sure that knowledge is accurate and safe. And governance is the third leg. It controls how that knowledge gets used. If you neglect any one of those legs, the whole thing just falls over.
So the big takeaway here is that building trustworthy AI isn't about finding some kind of magic bullet. It's a systematic, disciplined process. This three-pillar framework gives you a clear path to get the power of AI working for you safely. So the only real question left is, for your organization, where are you going to start?